The Australian story, no matter the chapter, is an adventure story. Ancient, action-packed, precious and proud. This week, the life and times of the mighty Hawkesbury River, from its mountain source
There's something so special about being on the water.
to its ocean end.
A shipwreck that's just become an oasis of marine life.
Ours is a country of open roads and experiences wild and new. An adventure story that's yours for the making.
Isn't it incredible how a single drop of water can build to become the lifeblood of one of Australia's biggest cities? And there's nowhere where that's more apparent than when you're standing overlooking Warragamba Dam, a body of water that quenches the thirst of 4.5 million Sydney-siders. But this body of water is also the start of our journey as we follow it and weave our way to the coast.
Weighing in at 9,000 square kilometres, the walls of Warragamba Dam form the headwaters of one of Australia's most iconic waterways, the mighty Hawkesbury Nepean River System. Flowing eastward from the feet of the Blue Mountains in Western Sydney to its mouth at Broken Bay and out to the Tasman Sea. And this is day one of my journey from the river's mountain source to its ocean end. The life and times of the Hawkesbury River is a story of immense change brought on by 227 years of European settlement. For good or bad, people love this river. For some, it's a place of escape. And for others, it's a place that needs protection.
There's something so special about being on the water, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. There's the sound of the water going past the boat. And just the birds around as well, the wildlife.
Everyone, this is Jeff. Jeff is an adventure conservationist.
Yeah, I'm a willow warrior.
A willow warrior? What is a willow warrior?
We just combine doing some conservation volunteering, particularly with trying to get rid of black willows here in Australia.
Jeff Cottrell is president and team leader of Willow Warriors, a group of land care volunteers who paddle the banks of the upper Hawkesbury Nepean once a month in search of a noxious weed known as black willow.
And what makes you so passionate?
But the whole land care movement was formed when farmers and conservationists, who were originally enemies, both realised they wanted to protect the land for their kids. And that's pretty much why I do it. So my kids and my grandkids can see the river like I saw it when I first started paddling.
The black willow is an introduced species that has become a huge problem because it shades out the native plants that provide food for our wildlife. And when they shed their leaves in autumn, if the river is running low, it can deoxygenate the water, which kills the fish.
How does it feel when you're out here and you just know that you're enjoying yourself, having a beautiful paddle, but you're actually making a difference?
It feels really good, and particularly when you're doing a river where you've done all the control work and you're just going along and finding one or two, and then you find none. It's really rewarding.
The river's battle with the black willow depends heavily on Jeff and his fellow warriors to keep up the good work. As a result, more warriors are always welcome, no experience needed.
Can anyone come and volunteer?
Anyone can come along.
And do you have to be an experienced paddler or?
No experience required in paddling or conservation volunteering. We give you all the skills on the day.
With an estimated 10,000 land care volunteers working to conserve the Hawkesbury's native vegetation, this river is not short of champions. But after the break, my journey continues with a river legend whose love for the Hawkesbury knows no speed limits. Life along the banks of the Hawkesbury moves at the gentle pace of the river itself. So if you're looking for some time out, the 120-kilometre journey down this epic old waterway from mountains to the sea makes for an awesome weekend road trip. From Windsor, the river unravels towards the coast through spectacular sandstone country, more than 200 million years old. And here in the village of Wiseman's Ferry is a slice of river life that thankfully has remained unchanged since colonial times. Because this little punt has been carrying river folk and their wheels from one bank to the other for just on 180 years. But where the river's farmland was once known as the agricultural engine of the colony, in the 21st century, we use engines on the Hawkesbury for entirely different reasons. This part of the river is no secret, far from it, because this stretch of water is home to some of the best water skiing in New South Wales and a very Hawkesbury kind of holiday experience, the ski ranch. And whether you can ski or you just want to learn, do yourself a favour and get a lesson or two from the best of the best. Tony Carnival from Carinya Ski Ranch. This river legend carves it up. And then, when the mood takes him, he ditches the skis.
I had the most fun out there. I think you are crazy. Like, cuckoo.
Cuckoo?
With that water skiing on your bare feet. Like, doesn't it hurt your feet?
Well, it does, and it did when we learned. But I'm just happy to sit on the shore and watch my kids ski.
And you've taught them all?
I've taught them and thousands of other people. Thousands of other people.
And can anyone do it? Can anyone learn?
We have never had a failure, ever.
And they certainly do start them young out here.
Why did you choose this particular spot?
We've skied from possibly every park along the river. This was always the Hilton of caravan parks. The people were friendlier, they made us feel at home. And like I said to you, we were tenants on the park before we became the owners. So the choice wasn't hard to make. It was the Rolls-Royce of caravan parks.
Carinya Ski Ranch is open to casual campers, caravanners, day skiers, or those up for a full weekend. But it is tightly held river real estate. The permanent van sites don't come up for sale very often and are usually snapped up immediately.
And what makes the river perfect for water skiing in particular?
Its width, but what makes it special is the distance, that you can ski both ways without turning around. So if you're a good skier and you want to go for an hour ski, you've got the water to do it.
The Carinya Ski Ranch is a genuine example of how big rivers like the Hawkesbury can develop a lifestyle all of its own. The ski community here seems like a fairly tight bunch who are living the Aussie dream. A weekender in the bush only 90 minutes from the Sydney CBD, with a boat parked out the front on a river that is more aquatic playground than river wilderness.
It is a special sport. There is something about kind of just flying behind the boat and the wind is in your hair and...
It's a freedom feeling. It's really just being able to express yourself and do what you feel you want to do. You can be your own person out there. You can go out and you look good because nobody knows what you're doing anyway.
Did I look good out there?
You looked awesome.
So you say all the right things. You say all the right things.
But for those of us who are travelling downstream, Corinna is the perfect place to unpack the camper and re-energise after a big day of river action.
I think you'll have to agree with me that this has been a really fun little road trip. We followed the river down. Yesterday was really relaxing on the kayaks. Today, just such a blast out there on the water ski. I loved it. And it's awesome. At the end of the day, you kind of pull up and it's like you can have a cup of tea, my home away from home, and every morning I wake up with a new view and a new adventure. Can't wait for tomorrow. I think I've earned this cup of tea. Cheers, guys.
Coming up, how you can win our ultimate $100,000 adventure pack. The Hawkesbury River flows from the feet of the Blue Mountains near Penrith, 120 kilometres east to the open waters of Broken Bay. And my journey along its course has brought me a long way downstream, past the iconic bridges of Mooney Mooney and into the lower Hawkesbury. For thousands of years before European settlement, the Aboriginal people who called this part of the river home moved along its bushlands and tended its shores. And to this day, the stories of their lives can be seen dotted along the river.
So we're getting to the mouth of the river system now, but this is the part that's the most precious and special to me because I grew up exploring these waterways and I thought I was really familiar with them until today when I found out that this area has the highest concentration of Indigenous sites anywhere in the country. And the best way to see them is to come out on the waterway here with the team from Sydney Outback.
Akuna Bay in the Ku-ring-gai Chase National Park is only 45 minutes north of downtown Sydney.
I guess coming here, it's like almost looking back into history.
Well, it is a time capsule of what Sydney Harbour looked like prior to the European settlement. We have the same geology, the same trees, the same plant life.
After learning that these cliff lines were filled with age-old Aboriginal art sites, Paul Pickering formed Sydney Outback Tours and spent 12 months working with the elders of the Ku-ring-gai tribe, the traditional custodians, to establish this very unique tour of their country.
And here for me is one of my most favourite parts of the park. Here we see this amazing weathered sandstone formation, and hidden amongst it are these 3 hand stencils made centuries ago by the traditional custodians of the area. It would have signified to them that this was a safe part of the waterway for them to live and interact with their environment.
These well-camouflaged sites are somewhere between 800 and 1,000 years old. And the few that we are seeing today are just a mere handful of the 2,000 sites dotted all around the Ku-ring-gai Chase National Park. Only 35 kilometres from Sydney's 4.5 million people, these truly timeless landscapes have enormous significance to the Ku-ring-gai tribe.
And we're going to a very special spiritual site now. And so he's put some ochre on my face so that we can pay respects to the ancestors.
The Ku-ring-gai elders have asked that this location remain a secret because it's still a place where young Indigenous people come to learn about their culture and the mighty river that runs through its heart.
Sometimes you come to a place and you just feel really humbled and you can sort of sink into it and get a sense of it and it moves you. And this is one of those places. A little window into tens of thousands of years of our country's history.
So you're touring the high country, and let's face it, there's probably going to be a temptation to bring a lot of gear with you. Now that's fine, folks. All this gear has its place, but remember, it does come at the cost of weight to your caravan. Now, it's very important that the caravan's laden ball weight does not exceed the tow bar capacity of your tow vehicle. Well, the easiest thing to do is to get yourself a set of portable ball weight scales. Folks, this is really cheap insurance. I'm using the Malenko scale, but there's a variety on the market. Now, safety first. The handbrake's on, we're on level ground, the wheels are chocked, we've even got a couple of blocks of timber just to make for a sure-footed surface for the scale. Okay, the first thing we want to do, the scale's in place. We're just going to gently lower the jockey wheel so that the scale is taking up the weight of the caravan's coupling. Okay, the scale is now taking up the full ball weight of the caravan, and as we can see, we know now that this caravan has a ball weight of 200 odd kilos. So that's fantastic news because that's well within spec of my tow vehicle.
Coming up next, a side of the Hawkesbury River very few get to see.
To kick off Australian Geographic Adventures premiere series, we are going to be giving away the ultimate adventure kit that we hope will inspire you to get out and explore this amazing country of ours. To win this majestic 2015 Sierra Off-Road Extreme, complete with rugged 15-inch wheels, Simplicity suspension, air conditioning, gas-heated hot water system, rear ensuite and a K-Mech top load washer, and this Stabicraft 1650 Fisher with Mercury outboard, Lowrance electronics and Trans-style trailer, just text your full name and details to 1995 2010 to be in the running. The comp closes on September the 30th, 2015. If you have any questions, all terms and conditions can be found on this website. So, get busy.
As our journey down the Hawkesbury comes to an end, I think it's fitting that we get back out on the water. We're headed for Barrenjoey Lighthouse at Palm Beach, which is only about 10 minutes from Carril Bay Wharf at Avalon. We've spent a lot of time driving beside the river, paddling in it, skiing on it, cruising it, and now it's time to jump in and see what lies beneath.
Everyone, this is Matt. Matt is my scuba hero. He's a man who taught me how to dive, and I've come back today to do a new dive. I've never done the Valiant before at the end of the Hawkesbury.
Yeah, beautiful dive. 27 metres. Wreck went down in the early 80s, and yeah, it's attracted a lot of fish life.
Matt Hopkins from Scuba Monkeys is one of Australia's leading dive instructors with a passion for shipwrecks that has taken him to depths in excess of 100 metres.
Awesome. And what's the story behind the wreck?
So it was on tow back to Sydney for repairs, and unfortunately it broke its line and sank quite conveniently off Barrenjoey headland for us.
The Valiant lies sprawled on the ocean floor, about 1 kilometre offshore. It's just to the east of where the 5 waterways of Broken Bay converge.
And it's fantastic having it just on our doorstep, so it's only a 10-minute run round the corner. Now, as you'll see, it's a very easy dive. Easy to get in, easy to get out.
Awesome. Should we get going?
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right.
Okay, so as we come down the line, Caroline, if you look over to your left-hand side, you'll see the wreck coming into view.
Ah, I didn't realise that's a wreck. I thought it was some big black shadow.
So there you see we've got the bow. As we come up to the bow, you see the big anchor winch. And now as we're coming on, you see the wobbegong sharks. We've got several wobbegong sharks up there around the bow.
Look at the wobbegong.
Yeah, there's a big female there.
Oh, she's just so chilled, isn't she?
Yeah, there's a lot of, if you look now coming up over your left shoulder, you see all those yellowtails.
big school of yellowtails on here at the moment.
Wow.
And as we move up at the back end of the wreck, you see how all the superstructures started to collapse? It's really attracting still a lot of fish life.
Yeah, it's almost becoming kind of one with the ocean now. Like it's becoming more like a reef rather than a wreck.
Exactly right, yeah. And you see up there in that big bow winch, see the two moray eels?
Wow, you can just see them peeking out at you.
That's it, yeah, so they're using that as shelter from any other predators and also using it to hunt. The wobbegongs are really enjoying watching these maddows, so that's their favourite food.
Oh, I didn't know they're going to eat them. Everyone looks like they're having an afternoon nap down here except for those yellowfin. This is incredible. We've come all the way to the end of the river, and we've reached the ocean, and this is what lies beneath a shipwreck that's just become an oasis for marine life. It's really cool.
If my journey down the Hawkesbury has you ready for a little weekend escape, you can have an adventure wherever you want with a little help from Brits. This week's run down the river, the crew and I uncovered some excellent places to make camp for the night. The Sydney Getaway Holiday Park was a fantastic spot with sites starting from $40 and cabins from $110. After a long day of exploring the river, the Hawkesbury Riverside Tourist Park made for a very relaxed night with campsites starting from $25 and cabins $75. And finally, the Wiseman's Ferry Del Rio Riverside Resort was a welcome sight after all that water skiing, and sites started from $30 with very comfy cabins from $100. For this information and more about this week's Australian Geographic adventures, log on to australiangeographic.com.au. Next week, we'll experience some of southeastern Queensland's most unique wildlife in their natural habitat. Come face to face in the blue depths of its barrier reef and have rare encounters in its subtropical forests, unchanged for millions of years.